Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and this is the Moft Float. So Moft actually sent me this product to review, but I'll be talking about the product with my honest opinion. So let's get started. First, I'm going to go over the features of the product. The case is made for the 11-inch iPad Pro 2020, but it fits the 2018 model perfectly. I also have a 3D printable camera filler that I use for the Magic Keyboard that also fits in this case as well. I personally think it looks so much better with it. The case has a couple of different modes to use it in. The one that I use most often is floating mode. It brings up the screen a little higher than normal, which makes it a lot more comfortable for watching movies and videos. It can also elevate your iPad up to 80mm or 3.15 inches in height. There's also a stable mode where you can readjust the stand to have it stable on the desk. This is especially nice for drawing, taking notes, or marking up PDFs. And you can adjust the angle a little bit higher if anything's a little bit uncomfortable. The last is portrait mode, where you can use the iPad vertically. This one's nice for reading through books, textbooks, or just scrolling through social media. The Apple Pencil still sticks to the iPad through the case, however just keep in mind that the magnets are a little bit weaker and won't stick as well. Next I'm going to talk about the build quality. The build quality is pretty good, but there are a couple things that I noticed. The top of the case where the pencil goes is lifted up a little, and it isn't flush with the iPad, but this is pretty minor. When you lift up the case, the back part of the stand starts to sag a little. The hinge starts to wobble a lot if you touch the screen, so it's best paired with the keyboard and mouse. The product images don't really show this, but there's a slider piece that tries to help stabilize the iPad, but it's pretty flimsy and I wouldn't really recommend using it. The stand and hinge are pretty high quality and made out of metal, but sadly the base seems to be some sort of plastic, but it does luckily have some felt material so you can put things like your phone. The case itself is made out of some TPU or rubber, so I wouldn't really worry about dropping your iPad once or twice. When I first started using the case, the hinge felt really tight and didn't seem to move very well. But one time it didn't seem to move, so I forced it open, and it made a terrifying cracking sound. However, now it moves like I think it's supposed to. Okay, so future Kevin here, the cracking sound was actually the hinge breaking. This is a little bit worrying, but Moft says it was just a defect with my product, and they did say they were going to send me a new one. But if this worries you, just keep this in mind. Now onto my review of the Moft Float 1 week later. I noticed that I switched between this case and the Magic Keyboard depending on my use case. Whenever I brought my MacBook, however, I would use the Moft case, and when I had to use my iPad standalone, I would bring around the Magic Keyboard. I don't think I'll be using the case with the external keyboard and mouse like they intended it for, but I did notice that I use the case to watch videos and take notes a lot more comfortably. The floating mode isn't really stable, but it makes for a really nice video watching experience and makes the iPad even better for something like Sidecar. With Sidecar enabled, the stand brings the iPad up to a nice level, so it truly feels like a second display to my MacBook. What I do to prevent it from wobbling during floating mode is by holding the screen with my left hand while tapping away with my right. It's still so much easier than not having it, and it's really nice to use. One thing I noticed was its portability. It's a pretty slim case seeing as it brings so much functionality, but it does make it significantly heavier than the bare iPad. So if weight is a big issue with carrying around the iPad, keep this in mind. All in all, the case is pretty nice for bringing more functionality to the iPad while having a minimal form factor. For $55, I would recommend it to those who don't already have an iPad case and want something to make it easier to write on and get more angles to watch videos, or actually just for Sidecar, because it makes it a lot nicer to use. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe.